Imagine having all the money in the world and being super duper happy. Now put that thought in the back of your mind and imagine being a billionaire. Well, these people on this list today we're going to be going over had billions upon billions of dollars, and they were set for life. Literally, their family and their family's second family was set for life. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of this money can go to your head, and the way you achieve and earn this money can also be very, very lowly and scummy, and can even be illegal. So we're going to be talking about some billionaires who lost all their money today. But first, guys, I'm here with the wealthy. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to smack a big thumbs up on the video. Also, subscribe. Let us know in the comment section down below if you did subscribe, and turn our post notifications on. That way you could be entered in our giveaway. The way to enter our giveaway is subscribe first. Let us know in the comment section down below you subscribe, and that's it. We're going to pick a couple lucky viewers who did that, and they will be shouted out in the next video. So guys, go ahead, hit that sub button because we got a good one for you today. Let's get into the 5 billionaires who lost all their money. Now, being a billionaire isn't all nice and sweet. You actually have to put in tons of hard work and effort to get to that point. Now, the lavish lifestyle is nice, and you know, the attention you get is also nice. You're pretty much a public icon, because think about it, if you're worth $1 billion and you have $1 billion plus to your name, people are going to know what you've done, whether it's create Microsoft, be the founder of Apple, or something else. Now, the first billionaire on the list is probably the most infamous. It's Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff actually popularized the term Ponzi scheme, which pretty much is taking other people's money and investing into fake funds and pretty much pocketing all of it, telling them it's going to be coming out soon, and eventually making off with their money and cutting ties completely. Bernie Madoff entered the annals of financial history by swindling many wealthy people out of tens of billions of dollars in the largest Ponzi scheme in history. It is estimated before he went to prison, in fact, sentenced now to 150 years, he was worth about $17 billion. Not much of it remains, however, and the biggest lesson in this story offers is to be very wary of hard to believe financial claims or promises, because a lot of the times those promises are false and they lead to a false, pretty much reality. You can't believe everyone, and in this sense, Bernie Madoff made off, no pun intended, with a ton, and I mean a ton of money. Eike Batista is the next person on this list. He was actually at one point the richest man in Brazil. He actually has fallen a long way since. At his financial height, he was the richest man in Brazil, a nation with more than 200 million citizens. He made his money largely via Brazilian natural resource companies, but also carried a lot of debt. And when I mean a lot of debt, millions upon millions of dollars. When the businesses crashed, so did his net worth, falling from an estimated $35 billion to less than $300 million, which isn't, something to laugh at. I mean, you're still worth $300 million. That's a ton of money. But still, that's a drop of more than 99.9%, by the way, if you guys were wondering. Interestingly, after a priest suggested to him that everything he had taken from the sea has to be returned in some way, and this could be done by a ritualistic gesture showing gratitude, Batista tossed gold coins worth more than $150,000 into the ocean. Imagine taking $150,000 and you get them all in gold coins. You go out to the middle of the ocean and you just dump them all away. Personally, me, I've never even seen $150,000, so I couldn't imagine what it meant to even toss that into the ocean. But the fact that he listened to this priest means he's willing to change his ways, which is a good thing. You want to make sure that you're always open to new ideas and everything else. Now we have our first lady on the list, Elizabeth Holmes. She had a lot of bad blood with people. She was actually at first praised in the press for years as the CEO of Theranos, an exciting startup company that promised to revolutionize the medical testing with inexpensive blood tests. The problem was that this didn't even exist yet, and she was actually scamming people out of her money. Her 50% stake in the company was worth an estimated $4.5 billion at one point, but Forbes magazine recently actually listed her net worth at zero. Allegations of fraud brought down Theranos and Holmes, her partner in crime, followed by lawsuits and legal sanctions. So basically what Elizabeth Holmes did, she said she could offer new medical testing with cheap blood tests, which in other countries you may think here aren't that bad, but in other countries they're pretty expensive to do, which blood tests are actually very important because there's a couple of reasons why. The first reason is they can save other people's life if you donate blood, and two, you want to know if you're healthy. If you have some sort of disease like HIV in your blood and they don't detect it at an early rate, they can't begin to treat it because it's very hard to treat a disease like that if you don't know right away. So she's pretty much scamming, giving these people false hope, and overall it was pretty scummy of her to do. And honestly, I don't say this about a lot of people, but I think she personally deserved it. Next we have Michael Pearson. If you're familiar with Valeant Pharmaceuticals, you probably know that its stock crashed more than 80% back in 2016 amid investigations and criminal charges against at least one former executive. They were doing a lot of dirty work underneath, and it just didn't pan out for Mr. Pearson. You may not know this much about the former CEO, Michael Pearson. He was actually a billionaire not so long ago, ranking in $182 million in compensation in 2015 alone. But with Pearson at the helm, Valeant acquired dozens of companies, took on a lot of debt, and hiked prices of many drugs, a formula that didn't lead to great success. Pearson, meanwhile, was a billionaire on paper and made big donations to Duke University with the borrowed money. This money actually right now has helped pay for the new basketball arena, a lot of the classrooms that their students, their hardworking students are in, and a lot of the salaries. And that's why if you want to become a professor, it's actually noted that it's probably the best place to work at Duke because you're making 6 figures minimum a year working there. So I'd say that's a pretty good gig for Mr. Pearson, even if the money never really existed. Lastly, we have Aubrey McClendon. This is probably the most interesting case I've read in a while. If the name Aubrey McClendon is familiar with you guys, it's because he used to head up the successful Chesapeake Energy Company and its high-flying stock. The energy company actually was rumored to be close to $1 trillion in total revenue, which has never happened before with the company, and I didn't think I'd ever see it in my lifetime. That stock is actually down close to 90% from its peak though, however, and with the massive debt load, bankruptcy isn't out of question for them, despite a surprisingly profitable third quarter. Chesapeake's debt soared from $1 billion to $13 billion between 2000 and 2010. McClendon died, however, unfortunately in a fiery car crash in March of last year, setting off speculations of suicide because of his being indicted a day before the crash, which does make sense, but still, rest in peace, Mr. McClendon, setting off a bunch of speculations of suicide because of him being indicted. So pretty much he was charged with these conspiring rid bids, and overall it wasn't a good look for him, and I guess he decided to, pretty much end it all and leave the company in other people's hands. More recently, the death was deemed accidental. McClendon did have a history of fast and recklessly driving. So in 2011, McClendon's wealth was estimated at $1.2 billion before Chesapeake's stock imploded, completely crashed, left for dead. A lesson here is taking big risks and running up massive debt can be crippling for not only you, but the people who work for you, for your company. Again, it is a team effort. You need to make sure you're always looking out for other people instead of yourself first. Even with his personal investments, he used margin investing in borrowed money and faced a lot of margin calls. This just isn't a good look for a company. And this is why he was in so much debt. And this is why you would lead one to believe pretty much he probably did commit suicide. So guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, make sure to leave a big thumbs up, subscribe, let us know in the comment section you did subscribe so you could be entered in today's giveaway. Guys, I'm signing off from the wealthy, and as always, see you guys later.